Hey, everybody!
Go live on Rockfin.
You don't have to yell it so soon when we're just getting started.
That's what she said.
Hey, everybody. What? That didn't even make any sense. Welcome, everybody. As you can see, we're, despite being sober, a little loopy. Not sure why, but it's going to be a fun show, so I'm glad you tuned in for this one.
It's because I'm sober. Do you ever think of that?
I'm glad you tuned in for this one. We got a lot of stories to get through. We also got, we're going to answer your question. We're going to answer your comments. Please take a second to share this. If you have a friend you know likes this kind of shit, then please email it out while you're listening. That would be awesome. As many of you know, all of the donations from this, all the Super Chat donations, all the donations at Rockfin, all of the donations on Venmo at Lee Camp, which you can donate to at any time, doesn't need to be during the show. All those donations go to people who are struggling, people in need. I will read one or two of those thank yous that I feel, people will often direct them at us because we're the ones that forwarded the money, but I feel like they're thank yous for you. So I want to let you know about that. Yeah, they really are. And so, yeah, that's how this works. But we also get into a lot of the news that the mainstream media will not cover because they fucking suck ass, like rancid, mangy ass. And that's why we, despite the fact that, you started out as a musician and I started out as a comedian, we now are kind of journalists because it's really easy to cover things that the mainstream media fucking won't cover. I mean, really easy to find them, at least. I don't know if it's easy to do them justice, but
you were able to do the really cool thing where you combined both.
Okay, well, you've combined some great messaging.
I haven't sung the news yet.
No, you've combined some great messages and some great ideas into music. So,
well, thank you.
There you go. So yeah, if you have topics you want us to cover, topics you'd like to hear us chat about, dig into, feel free to throw them in the comments section. Please do take a second to click the thumbs up. I know it's stupid, but it helps with the algorithm, the almighty algorithm that tells us how we should live. You have to bow down to the algorithm, man. Jesus. But this is a big show. We dressed up for this. You can't see it, but we wore mascot bottoms. So ooh. I got I'm some sort of duck underneath here.
I'm Mr. Met.
And we got Mr. Met's bottom over here. So.
Which is really just a pair of baseball pants.
All right. So far, many of the comments seem rather meaningless, but I'm sure they'll get better. I'm sure you guys are just warming up. I feel it. You guys are warming it up and you're getting ready to ask some real shit, really dig into some important shit. You just gotta, it's like it's stretching before the game, you gotta.
No. You know, we had this conversation before, which was people aren't around long hair that often. And so when they see it, they're like, holy shit, I must comment.
Well, especially, Robin, we'll get to this in 1 second. Thanks for starting off, G Birch.
Thanks, G Birch.
We were talking about it because we live in Washington, D.C. now, unfortunately, and this city is so filled with prudes and sad sacks of shit and lobbyists and all that shit that anybody with long hair is like a freak show. They get scared and they stumble off, and it's bizarre. So I don't know if some of you probably live in cities that are similar, like certain areas in fucking Ohio. I remember
the first time that I wore leather pants here after moving from LA. Wow. I got looked at as if I was wearing a suit in Hollywood. It was just very bizarre. Like, it was just, people thought that I had slept through Halloween or something and just never got undressed. But yeah, that's DC for you.
So G Birch has started off the donations. All the donations go to people who are struggling out there, people who need a little help. And if that is you, please don't hesitate to email commoncensored@protonmail.com. I always feel like it's important to make a point that we're not talking about, being able to afford the $800,000 surgery to get your vision back. We're talking about $80 or $100. If that will make a big difference, then email commoncensored@protonmail.com. But Robin brought up, which I think is a fine topic to start with. Robin brought up Eleanor's awesome article. She's not allowed to say that, but I am. Awesome article at Mid Press this week. So I thought maybe we could chat a little about that.
Thanks, y'all. I don't know if you're bidding on my hair.
Yeah, no,
or...
$5. You have to send him your hair now. That's it. Yeah.
That's terrifying. That's like an episode of CSI or something.
Thank you, Jeff with 2 dogs. Wow, I know a lot about him just from his name. That's impressive.
God, I just got a total flashback from Forrest Gump. You can tell a lot about a person by their shoes. Okay, anyway. Whew, I don't know why that just happened. Where was I?
So the mid-press article dug into something, and actually I think you went off on a rant a little bit last time on the last week's live stream about, well, you went off on a little rant about how Zionism is not Judaism. But this article dug deeper to say that Zionism, in many ways, saying there needs to be a state for just Jews that kicks other people off their land in order to have them and keeps them in an open-air prison, side note, but is anti-Semitic because of the messaging and what it's achieving around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, thank you. DSL Coda, and you're covering up the name. Tony, thank you. Yeah.
Well, we can chat about the gig economy as well in a moment. Thank you, Tony.
Well, basically, check out the article. It's up at radindiemedia.com, and it links to mintpressnews.com, which is a phenomenal outlet that's done a lot of work, particularly on the issue of Israel and Palestine. And we both have talked about this as people who are Jewish. The need to really drive a wedge between Judaism and
wow, thank you, Chaos
Zionism.
Agent.
Thank you, Chaos Agent.
Hold on, you're gonna want to say this. Some sort of emoji of a pear crushing a city, I think.
Oh, I thought it was drumming on the city.
Oh, maybe
he's doing like a little Tommy Lee thing. Anyway, but yeah, so the importance of driving a wedge between Judaism and Zionism for several reasons. One being that it is hugely anti-Semitic, and it's anti-Semitic both because it flies in the face of Jewish principles and tradition and practices. But also it is anti-Semitic because it suggests that Jews only belong in one place, which is really fucked up.
Right, which weirdly the evangelicals really want to get us there.
Right. And here's the thing. Yes, there have always been Jews who have lived in what is now considered Israel. And up until 1948, they were just Palestinian Jews, which was okay with people. So this idea of going home is really bullshit. And if you look at, and I mention all of this in my article, if you look at the founding papers of, the Zionist founding papers of Israel, then they talk about how this is literally, quote, a colonial project. They were well aware of how this was being structured. The PR campaign was then, come home to your ancestral home. But that's not at all how they were, like, behind closed doors talking about it. And so, there's so much anti-Zionism that is rich, that is a rich history of Judaism in the past 100 years, because let's be clear, Jews have been around for roughly 6,000 years. Zionism's been around for like a little bit over 100. So in comparison, I think I write in the article, that's like saying humanity is synonymous with iPhones. It's like, it's just ahistorical. It just fucking doesn't make any sense. You're erasing the largest part of Jewish history, which is in fact a history that highlights the fact that we are not a people without a home. We are a people with many homes.
You kind of talk about this in your article.
Yeah, that's and I'm not going to go through the whole thing because otherwise I could just read it to you and that would be, weird. So
yeah, we're just touching on some of the bigger facts.
So check out the article. It basically contextualizes Zionism in the history of European genocide. Basically the birth of genocide in the continent of Europe and vis-a-vis Africa and, what is now called the United States and Canada, really inspired both Hitler and then, so ironically, Zionists that would later found Israel. So, and
yes, wars and fire, that is true. It's one of the kind of ironic facts about the term anti-Semitism is that Palestinians are Semitic.
Which is also why, again, Zionism is anti-Semitic in like the full sense of that term, right? It's anti-Semitic. It's against Jews. It's also, of course, more blatantly against Palestinians.
To address, thank you all for the donations. All of it's going to people who are struggling. To address some of the things you said, someone was asking about Assange or commenting that it was good to see me speak about Assange. I mean, I talk about him endlessly, of course, but I had Jill Stein on, former presidential candidate, two-time presidential candidate Jill Stein, and she was talking about Assange on Redacted VIP. You can find that at leecamp.com or radindiemedia.com. And she's part of Doctors for Assange, which is a group of doctors around the world who are saying Assange needs to be freed. So that was that interview. Someone else mentioned what? I can't remember.
Gig economy.
Oh, yeah, gig economy. We'll get to that in a minute. But someone was asking us to speak about Cuba. We've actually done a lot of speaking about Cuba on various platforms.
Thank you, Lucy.
I did some on Redacted tonight. We did some on the last podcast. So thank you, Lucy Dyer.
So yeah, there's plenty to sink your teeth into. There's also, of course, a lot up at radindiemedia.com that we've shared from a lot of rad, as it were, a lot of rad outlets and journalists, hosts and reporters. So check that out.
The latest on one latest fact on Cuba, which you can. Sorry, I'm going to keep saying this, and you're going to find this is a common note amongst us. But here's the thing: I'm not going to keep saying radindiemedia.com because I just want you to go there, which I do. But it's because basically it's a clearinghouse of all the things we've read over the week and found to be awesome or important. So
and when I keep
saying these things, it's not just an ad for the site we created. It's because literally that's where it is. But you can find this at Rad Indie Media as well. Some of the latest stuff is that it's now been proven, or doing some with people who have done some research, that many of the Cuban social media posts and tweets that have been furthering this, like, quote unquote SOS Cuba, hashtag SOS Cuba, that kind of shit that was trending, much of it was started by U.S. Affiliated groups or a combination of those with just like bot armies, like truly fake accounts that started like a month ago. So this is much of this is not to say, and we said this last time as well, this is not to say that there aren't Cubans with complaints about their government, which is fine. We stand up for anybody. We stand up for anybody to have complaints about their government. But for our media to act like this is fully organic and has no influence from the U.S. is utter bullshit and horseshit mixed together into a stew of animal shits.
Well, and like we talked about in the last podcast, even if these protests were legitimate, which they're not, you can't talk about what's going on in Cuba without talking about the U.S. blockade. So the conversation, even if you for some reason felt very adamant about the people in Cuba are protesting and they have the right to okay, whatever, even if that were true, then you still have to talk about why those protests are being held, because people don't have access to basic goods and services because of blockade.
Thank you, Pranjal.
Thank you, Pranjal. I've never seen that symbol before. That's so cool.
Pranjal, can you tell us what denomination that is? I actually don't know.
Yeah, which is awesome. But yeah, so we've covered that on Common Censored, so from last week. So do give it a listen.
Give it a listen. Check it out. I was gonna say something else.
Or were you still talking about Cuba?
No, we can go to the gig economy. So the latest Redacted tonight, I dig into the gig economy and why it is so. Why corporate America loves it. Corporate America is fucking jizzing themselves over the gig economy, which I know for those of us who aren't active workers in the gig economy, we don't have a job with one of these gig apps or whatever. We might think it's not that common. You have some people driving Uber and you have some people doing DoorDash and stuff, but it's a third of the American workforce is involved in the gig economy, and 30%, not of that, 30% total of American workers, it's their primary job is a gig job. And the gig economy, although it's sold as freedom, we get freedom. You can sign up anytime you want. You can quit anytime you want.
Choose your own hours.
Yeah, all the freedom shit. Yeah, it's freedom to not have any of the protections or anything that labor and unions have fought for fucking hundreds of years. Like, do you know how long it took to gain some of these benefits? Like they can't just fire you for no reason, or like they have to, accommodate like things like, illness or they can't fire you for being pregnant, or like all of these various protections, which corporations have fought against in other ways. But there's none of that in the gig economy. It is a wild west of corporations fucking you. So, it's rupees.
Thank you, Underhill.
Thank you, Pranjal.
Thank you, Pranjal,
for clarifying. I didn't mean you had to donate again, but thank you. That's awesome.
And cool. Thank you for the.
I'm going to keep asking questions, so he keeps donating. Pranjal, where is your name? Really awesome of you to donate. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's absolute. It's absolute bullshit, and it also kind of like the right to work. Y'all might remember those anti-union laws. It totally covers up the horse shit that that Lee just mentioned. That people spent like so much time and their lives fighting for basic workers' rights that are now completely
thank you, DSL Coda,
lost because of the gig economy, because you're not technically an employee. And here's something else to consider, that the gig economy is not just like Uber and all that shit. It's big corporations do it too. So for instance, I was reading an article recently where a woman was part of the gig economy, even though she went to work at a Verizon office every day for like 3 years. And they kept saying, oh, we'll hire you, we'll hire you, we'll hire you. But they never did. Then they were just done with her work. Then they hired somebody else through the gig economy. So they never actually had to hire someone and offer them the measly shit that you offer someone when you hire them in this country. Like,
right.
Fine, if you get cancer and you're dying, then you get a day off. Or if you give birth, you get that afternoon off. Or, like even like the measly little shit that you get in this country, they didn't even want to do that. So when we talk about the gig economy, we're not just talking about, Uber and Lyft drivers and shit like that. We are talking about people who like go to work at an office and have what some people would consider, like middle-class jobs, or even though middle class is kind of like, that's kind of like talking about, I don't know, Lancelot. It's like something that doesn't exist anymore.
Or leprechauns.
That meaning that he did?
I assume they must have at some point.
Anyway, so now I really want some Lucky Charms. Okay. Damn it. But yeah, so it's important to recognize how nefarious and insidious the gig economy is, and how many places it exists in our communities and in our nation. So it's really grotesque, and corporations make use of it as much as possible.
Yeah, so they're loving it, and it's sold to us as this kind of freedom, as this way for people to, get jobs. But it really is turning a lot of workers into feudal serfs. I mean, we're going back to feudal times where you just beg for whatever's left over from the rich. This also speaks to us being a plutonomy, which a leaked memo from, I believe, Citibank showed that they believed we were becoming a plutonomy, which is not just ruled by the wealthy, but it's an economy based on the wealthy, meaning what the wealthy do with their wealth is what really matters in the economy, and they are less and less caring what average people and lower class people do with their money, because it just doesn't compare to what a trillionaire or a billionaire does with his money. So,
and I recently saw that this kind of report has come out like once every year, but it just keeps getting shittier and shittier. So I think a few years ago was a minimum wage job can't afford a 2-bedroom apartment.
Check out that. We just watched Austin Powers 2.
Oh my God, that's so weird.
How weird is that?
So what was I saying?
God, sorry. I did it again.
Completely derailed me.
But he said that.
Completely derailed.
It's blame him.
Totally fucking derailed. I have no idea what the fuck I was talking about.
Well, now you're just replaying Austin Powers in your head, which sounds like a good time. Do you want to act out the scene where he tries to turn over the little car?
Oh no, I got it. Shut up. Okay, so there's a report like this that happens, every fucking year. And a few years ago was you can't make minimum wage and afford a 2-bedroom anywhere. And I was like, a 2-bedroom? And now a new report came out saying, actually, you can't afford an apartment on minimum wage anywhere in the United States. Anywhere. That includes like Topeka, Kansas. Okay. I'm not shitting on Topeka, Kansas. I'm just saying, like, it's not, Park Avenue West or something. But,
apparently one of the cheapest place to live is, I can't remember which city, in Nebraska. And the average is $600 a month for a studio apartment. And that is the cheapest there is in any kind of city that's not, living in a shed in an outhouse or something. And it's like, that would use up the entirety of your like minimum wage job per month.
Yeah. So like,
thanks, Bert.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking atrocious. Thank you, Bert. And yeah. I think to quote Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that.
Was that your second Forrest Gump?
It is.
Quote?
It was.
Okay. So there's several hundred of you.
Chris made a good point.
Yeah, seriously, because they'll arrest you and charge you.
I'm laughing just because that's horrifying.
For living under
it's
a bridge.
It's so true.
Totally.
You can't even afford to be homeless.
Thanks, Jim.
And this is another thing that we've covered as well, is the issue of homeless sweeps. Even during the pandemic, when the CDC specifically said, "Hey, don't do that because it causes the spread of COVID," cops in cities were like, "I don't fucking care. I hate poor people," and so they'd continue to do these homeless sweeps. Which basically, homeless sweep literally is what it sounds like. It's what these cities view as taking out the trash. They're removing the poor people from public view as much as possible to, try and promote the sheen of capitalism, that everything's fine here, folks. And if you're not doing well, it's your own fucking fault for not picking yourself up by those bootstraps you can't afford. So yeah, and if you've been to DC recently, you'll notice that there are far more tent encampments around the city, places that there weren't before. DC is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, I believe, gentrifying cities in the nation. And rents have not gone down since the fucking pandemic started.
Thanks, Chuck.
They've stayed the same, or in some cases gone up, while people's lives have been absolutely gutted. So
holy shit, that is different. Chuck sent some emoji of a nude lemon doing a dance.
Aren't all lemons nude?
Most lemons are nude.
Aren't we who's joke? Was that Bill Hicks talking about how why are humans the only animals that wear clothes?
Why are animals the only humans that wear clothes?
No, why are humans the only animals that wear clothes?
Because our social engineering. Same reason we act like nations are a real thing when they're not.
Yeah.
They're just made up in our heads. Same reason we act like money matters. When it's just all in our heads.
So Nathan just said you got to skin them, and I'm not sure if he's talking about poor people or lemons. I hope it's lemons. Otherwise, that's got like a very American Psycho feel.
Let's hope he was on the lemons train. So a few things. Thank you guys, all of you who've donated, all those go-to people who are really struggling out there. We've been talking a lot about like living under a bridge and shit like that. That's where this money goes. So if you have, $5, it doesn't need to be. I know some people, it's incredible, donate like $100 or $50 or something. But if it's $5, that's amazing. And all of it goes forward to people who are struggling. We consider us the expression is middlemen, but the middle people that don't take a cut. And, and so you guys are awesome. All the donations on Super Chat, all the donations on Rockfin, all the donations on Venmo at Lee Camp, they all go forward to people who are struggling. The only place that you support our stuff is liberapay.com/Lee Camp. But so yeah, thank you guys for doing that, and thanks for all the comments. One note, we have many hundreds of you are watching right now, and yet only 100 some have clicked the like button, the thumbs up. So please do that because it really does make a difference to the almighty algorithm. We love you, almighty algorithm. We adore you. Please show us to people. We will treat you well if you just show us to us.
Is that a Dracula accent?
I don't know. I just made any accent I could think of.
Okay.
I mean,
So
I
Frank-
was born with a Dracula accent, so.
So Frank, I can answer your question. And actually, I wrote an article about this as well a few months ago at Mint Press News.
Thanks, Giggles McGee, which is the real name.
Rich people have many homes. They invest in property. And so these, there are two things here. One is rich people will buy them and leave them empty, or people don't buy them, but they're, these luxury condo, creators, real estate tycoons are waiting for people to buy them. So I think I can't remember what I quoted in the article, but something like 50% of luxury condos in Manhattan, which is basically what Manhattan is now, are fucking empty, and that's because they're not the people. There are people who own them, but they don't live there because they just hold on to it as as a real estate investment. So. Yes, people keep building these fucking ridiculous luxury condos, but not for actually anyone to live in.
Thanks, Nicola.
They're to invest money in and wait for people to invest money in while people are fucking starving and homeless.
Yeah, and actually there's been a lot of news reports on this recently. The thing that has become in vogue for investment capital firms is to just buy up large swaths of single family homes. So they've been doing that recently, meaning they are outbidding average people that want a home.
Yep.
And this is, and here's, you may hear a report on that. You may hear some reports on a little bit on what Eleanor just said, but the part they won't get to is this is how fucking capitalism works. This is the system. It is the socioeconomic system that we have built and worship. Like, it will always work this way. Yes, it works more aggressively in a country where you have deregulated it so much, like the United States. Thank you, Trish. It works more aggressively in somewhere like the United States as opposed to some of the other countries, but it's working like this around the globe. So, like, this is the gravity of capitalism. Will be things like water, things like land, things like Ted Turner owns the size of Delaware in the United States. Land the size of Delaware, one man owns. Bill Gates is the number one owner of farmland in America. This is the gravity of capitalism. A tiny number of people owning fucking everything. The air, the water, the land, the fucking homes, the buses. It doesn't matter. Every goddamn thing is going into the hands of a tiny number of people. And it's how the board game, if you want to learn it, you look at the board game Monopoly, which when Monopoly was first invented, it had two sets of rules. One was the one we play today, where it's let's crush every other player and take all of their wealth and their homes and leave them homeless. And the other way to play was where you cooperate and you live together and you can enjoy the whole board, meaning the whole land, together. But of course, that version of playing wasn't as fun. And furthermore, the idea was stolen by arch capitalists, big capitalists, and they made a lot of money off of it by stealing the idea and only giving you one set of rules, the one where you crush the other players. But the board game, if you look at it and how it works, teaches you how capitalism works.
Yep. Indeed.
I'm going to read a thank you if we're at that time.
I think we might be at that time.
This turned into a game show all of a sudden. And by the way, speaking of Rad Indie Media earlier, it is still, Rad Indie Media is growing. It's been awesome. Thousands of you have already visited it. As you've seen, if you went there, it is not meant to get there's no ads. It's not meant to get money that way. It's meant to just show you all of the cool shit that's being done by independent media sources. But we are still looking to grow it and change it. And so, if you see something that you want to be different, or you think there are ways that it could be improved.
Thank you, J.H. Scott.
You can look at the contact form or the about page where there's a link there to contact us. And yeah, let us know, because
thank you, Underhill.
We're looking to grow it. Thank you, Underhill. Donations are awesome. Thank you. You guys are awesome. So here's where the donations go. I want to read you one thank you. Almost all of the thank yous, honestly, 90% are just thank you and exclamation points.
Right.
Many people tell us how rough their lives are, which you're not obligated to do, but it does show how important this is. A lot of people will email and say that they, are really struggling, or they have a little kid and they can't find the money for food and things like that. And I don't, it doesn't feel right to quite read those, but it feels right to read the thank yous, because I want you guys to get the thank you. So this is from Brian. We were able to send him, and it depends on how much came in from you guys, how many people asked for money. We were able to send him $100, and he mentions that. So he says, wow, couldn't have come at a better time, and I was expecting maybe half of this much. Thank you, and Eleanor, and you guys. You make me see, and I found this interesting. He said, you make me see I'm much more than I tend to think I am, which is pretty fucking cool that this also had that effect. I will repay your kindness in a myriad of ways. I got to get creative again. You guys and you guys are changing lives. Really inspiring. Please keep, and then he's started talking about my stuff. Please keep bringing your unique sense of humor to the existential opportunities for growth. But to me, that was powerful, because it shows that, like, being noticed and being understood by a community that's trying to help each other can be powerful in more ways than just helping somebody get, food or new tires for their car or whatever it is.
So thanks, y'all, for facilitating that. $5 for Lee's hair.
Well, we got one for yours. So now we've got donations for both Eleanor's hair and my hair.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
I
think he means the anti-Assange propaganda, because Tony's pretty awesome. So, there is tons of anti-Assange propaganda. It's really pathetic. It still goes on to this day that people haven't looked it up for 2 minutes. I did a segment recently on John Cusack, who apparently has been working with the Press Freedom Foundation or whatever it's called. And
is it Cusack? Have I been saying it wrong?
No, I might have it wrong. Cusack. I don't give a shit.
No, I don't
Balsack.
either.
John Balsack had all this, he posted this anti-Assange tweet while he works with press freedom organizations. Mm-hmm. The tweet was like, Assange threw his hat in to try and get Trump elected, trying to, cause just mass chaos or whatever he said. And it's utter bullshit. It's both incorrect, just factually incorrect. Assange also at WikiLeaks revealed the list of Trump donors, which Trump did not want to get out, obviously, but that was all the information he had on Trump at the time. And so that's what he revealed. And so Balsack is, Cuntsack is just fucking, I don't even know what that is just fucking.
It's a growth.
He's both incorrect. It's a growth. Sorry, ma'am, you have a cuntsack. Is just completely incorrect. And then on top of that, to choose, wow, thank you, Giggles, McGee.
Don't forget the last name.
Oh, McGee is so important. Is choosing now. This is a guy who considers himself left-wing, who considers himself someone who cares for press freedom, is decided now to start tweeting about how Assange is a dick who got Trump elected. Fuck you in so many ways. I can't count them right now.
Yeah, no, it's fucking horrifying. And especially, because these outlets used WikiLeaks findings for their own reports, for their own reporting. I know. And yet they're like, what an asshole that guy is. And it's like, you fucking used it. You didn't think he was an asshole when you were making bank off his findings, you piece of shit.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I mean, they all made money by stories. Thanks again, River Run.
River Run.
River Run's really killing it recently.
Yes,
Nick has not been showing up, though. Gonna have to fucking hunt him down. Yeah, I mean, they made money off the stories from WikiLeaks. They even started to create their own WikiLeaks version. New York Times claimed that they had a way for leakers to leak to them, which is laughable. Why would you leak to the fucking mainstream legacy
it's basically
State
like
Department?
sending it to the CIA directly.
Yeah, honestly. What is this? Oh, this is one of those lame semi-troll comments. So I love when people do this.
Well, no, there's a whole conversation going on. He might be talking to someone else.
Oh, he's talking to someone else. Okay. Yes, I've talked a lot about factory farming and shit like that. And Glenn Greenwald is one of the few journalists out there, honestly, who talks about it. He used to talk about The Intercept before he abandoned The Intercept because they were censoring him. But it like factory farming is one of the most grotesque and large-scale impacts on the environment that you could ever imagine, and it gets essentially zero coverage. I mean, at least big oil and fossil fuels, they do get some coverage. Yeah, it took a long time for the media to do anti-big oil stuff, but it's like even independent media is like most of it shies away from factory farming conversations. It's fucking pathetic. So,
yeah. No, it's awful. Yeah, and Frank makes a good point here. You can go to jail. They're called ag-gag laws.
Yep.
So you can literally go to jail for trying to release the truth about torture farming, which is what you call it, which I think is a good way to put it.
You're more blunt than me, apparently.
That's just because I'm more of an asshole than he is.
I feel like I'm pretty blunt.
Lee's nicer than I am.
I just called him John Cuntsack. What do I gotta do to be blunt? What's blunt? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about this. Joaquin Phoenix is anti-factory farming.
He saved a calf?
Well, I don't. Yeah, he went to some protest or something, but that's not the important thing. He gave he did his Golden Globe, I think, speech. And made it about like factory farming.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's
that
pretty
was cool.
Pretty incredible, yeah.
Yeah, God, fuck. I mean, celebrities need to fucking stand up for something other than fucking Face Foundation.
I thought you meant there was a place called the Face Foundation, which they probably, if that exists,
probably is. It's like the Human Fund.
Thank you, Tony. You're awesome, and you've donated many times over the many live streams we've had. So. Thanks so much for all your help. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be watching this comment.
I just thought you were over it. Like, fuck this. I'm done.
As soon as I get caught up in all the chit chat. Yeah, let us know if you have other topics you'd like us to talk about. Let's see, what are we at? 8:37. If you donate,
thank you, Bobo Deluxe.
If we get $100 in the next 10 minutes. We will stay until.
That's one call to action I haven't heard before.
Oh, it's Graham Elwood's thing.
Shave your knuckles.
I think someone. I think it started with someone commented that he had hairy knuckles, and so he said shave your knuckles for justice, and then it.
Why? You know what?
It kept being a thing.
Be you.
Sometimes things stick. You don't always know what's going to stick. You just say things, and it happens. You know.
I do have kind of like the Hobbit foot thing where I've got like a tuft of hair on my big toe.
Do you?
Yeah.
You might want to like braid it or something, you know, dye it.
I was going to dye it.
Dye it, yeah.
You know.
Guys, if we get $100 in the next 10 minutes, we will stay an extra 10 minutes. Yeah. I think I got that math right. Did I get that math right?
I don't know. I don't do the maths.
And all of as I've said before, all of the donations go to people who are struggling. I read you one of the thank yous a moment ago. And if that is you, if you are out there and you really think that $80 will make a huge difference, then please email commoncensored@protonmail.com. We love being able to help out the people we can. And thanks again for everything. All right. Well, if we don't have other topics you guys would like to talk about, I'm going to run over to Rad Indie Media and see what we got there. We haven't mentioned, this is what I was going to say.
Thank you, Underhill.
This is what I was going to say. Yeah, McDonald's no longer has a farm. They have a torture site.
Yeah.
I was going to say this earlier. We have not talked about Daniel Hale because we although we did talk about him, I think, on a past live stream. Daniel Hale will be sentenced in like 1 week. There's the site to help Daniel Hale. You can sign a petition. You can donate. I think there's other ways to help. That's at radindymedia.com. It's on the top row. You'll see the photo of him, and it talks about his whistleblowing that revealed that over 90%, I think it's closer to 98% of drone bombings, U.S. drone bombings, kill innocent civilians. That's by the military's own numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That's their analysis of it, not my analysis of what an innocent civilian is.
Thank you, Tony, again.
Thanks, Tony. And so he revealed that, and many other things, such as the fact that they kill people based on like how the grainy figure is walking in the video, because it's great. These are grainy infrared often videos, and they'll bomb a guy because they think he walks similar to the other guy they want to kill. And anyway,
and by the way, the person that they want to kill is also very arbitrary, because literally, like by the military's own admission, again, if you are in a place that they've decided is like a terrorist hotspot, then they'll kill you because, well, you must be a terrorist. You're in the terrorist hotspot. That's how we knew that was a terrorist. So they'll just name people terrorists and then kill them based on the geographical location that they fucking made up.
Yep. And so anyway, he revealed these things, very bold guy, and now he's being sentenced.
Thank you, Newt.
Likely. Thank you, Newt. He's likely going to be sentenced to well over a decade in prison, possibly decades. And it's fucking awful.
Yeah, and Chris makes a good point. Thank The Intercept for being the #1 place to turn over whistleblowers to the state.
I think we're at $20 out of that 100. So if that's the case, we will be turning this off soon, and we will be cursing all of your names. I'm taking down the names right now to curse. So just know that's happening.
He's kidding. He doesn't have the energy.
Yeah, I don't have the energy to write down the names. I'll curse in general, okay? Jesus. So yeah, that's Daniel Hale is a big topic right now, and it's getting what a surprise! Zero mainstream media coverage. Like for those people who love CNN, I bet you all have parents who love CNN. I have parents who love CNN. Ask them how many reports they've seen on Daniel Hale on CNN. Mm-hmm. Ask them that. And if they say, "Oh, I haven't heard of that, but I still like CNN," say, "Why do you think CNN chose to never cover that? Mm-hmm. Why is that?" Sounds pretty important, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's kind of like when you ask people, like, why do you like Biden? Well, he's not Trump. That's not a fucking reason. That's not good enough. What do you like about his policies? Well, he's not Trump. I feel like I'm talking to a fucking parrot. What the fuck do you mean? Right. So it's so fucking scary, right? Because people are programmed this way. They're programmed to just regurgitate talking points like, I like him because he's not Trump. And yes, Fox News bad, CNN good, or vice versa, as if there was that much of a fucking difference between the two. So yeah, it's the propagandization runs deep.
It's true. It achieves its goals, but
which is why it's so important that y'all help us.
Whoa,
Ayuda.
I think that might be the record donation for today.
Which is cool because ayuda means help in Spanish.
Thank you for the help. And that brings us to $70 out of that 100. So let's see if we can get there. But you were saying that's why it's so important right now. That's why it's so important,
that folks share the kind of journalism that you can find over at radindymedia.com. And that's why it's so important that whenever, y'all find something that is important and powerful, that y'all share that with your communities and your groups. Because we have tools that can help spread truth and the real story about things. We just really have to work at it and use the platforms and the networks that we have and build more. So,
Wow, thank you, Roshan. I think we're only thanks so much. I think we're only like $10 or $15 short of the $100. That would be awesome if we get there. Wow!
Whoa!
River Run. Fill in the gap.
For the win. Thank you.
It depends on where you eat. So I have multiple email accounts, River Run.
Thank
could
you, San Diego Pete.
Could you please send the email you're referencing to leecampmail@gmail.com if you didn't already? I will do my best to get to it. I can't.
Wow, y'all just like, it was like a windfall.
Yeah, thanks everybody for all the donations.
Aw, Chris, thank you for and also tacos. Yes. I'm 100% behind that.
And then Robert also sent a pair of characters, so you can enjoy that.
Y'all, thank you. Thank you for sending their characters. I miss them.
So yeah, I was River One was asking about the email. Email leecampmail@gmail.com or commentcensored@protonmail.com.
Thank you, H. Ligip.
Can you do that again, please?
I need to buy a vowel.
Thank you, H. Ligip.
I'm gonna use some of that 99 to buy a vowel.
People are getting creative with the gifts.
Why the fuck don't they show up here? I don't get to see any of the fun. I don't even. What is that? A hippo?
But it's a hippo that fell over in the desk chair and got wrecked.
Spelled wrong.
Well, he fell over in a desk chair. I can't spell now. Thank you guys so much for the donations. Incredible.
Woo!
All of these go to people who are having a pretty rough time. Something else I wanted to say about Rad Indie Media is a lot of people ask us about our sources for, because they want to keep up with these stories and they understand they can't all just be watching our shit. So they ask where we're finding it. And so that's what Rad Indie Media does. It shows you Popular Resistance. It shows you Sheer Post. It shows you, what else we got?
It's Going Down, Caitlin Johnstone, Graham Elwood,
Consortium News, Jimmy Dore, Breakthrough News, Common Dreams, and By Any Means Necessary, Truth Out.
Let me see something. Yeah, all of those.
Black Agenda Report. So, and I'm doing my best to take almost all of what those people do, at least for all of it for some of them that are releasing a few. Yes, Canary's on there as well. Random Jack said the Canary's on there, and I'm doing my best to take for some of them it's their best stuff if they're releasing a lot of shit. For some of them it is all of their stuff that because they put out one article a day, or Gray Zone puts out one article every few days, and I try and get all of it on there. So that's what's going on. We're doing our best, and I think a lot of people have loved it. The numbers are pretty cool. We crashed the website the other day, so
yes, indeed.
Thank you, John, who says that Rad Indie Media is the only place he trusts.
All rad, as it were.
As it were. Type your email in the chat. All right.
It sounds like like if you do this, you get like a free dinner at Chuck E. Cheese's or something.
I mean, I would hope at least at the minimum. So let's see. Let's grab one more story at least we have time for. This is an update on the residential schools, which is I covered it on Redacted Night the other day. Residential schools is like a fucking awful euphemism for basically kidnap and death schools created for Native Americans. The last one closed in America in 1979. 79. This is not ancient history. And but the worst obviously went on at the turn of the 1900s and stuff. But they would grab Native American children, or they would pressure Native American families to turn over their children in one way or another. And they would put them to these schools where they tried to the goal was to commit cultural genocide, to train these kids to get rid of their entire native culture and learn how to be a good, basically European style capitalist. And for many of them it worked. For others, it broke them and they were never the same. For others, many died. And there was, of course, rape and abuse because, hell, they're not even human. So what's it matter?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the most horrific shit. Went on in Canada a lot, too, which is what the biggest news is that in Canada, they're finding thousands of bodies at these schools. And the people have begun burning down churches in response because the church, basically the government of Canada during this time, turned it over to the church and said, here, you run these. So the church would run these schools, sometimes rape the kids, sometimes the kids would die, and they just bury them in unmarked graves. The tribes would never know what happened to their kids. And anyway, one of the updates is that the Sioux youth did they call it a youth committee? Rosebud Sioux Youth Council returned to Carlisle in 2015 and then began. Oh, Carlisle's the most horrific U.S.
You've done
version.
a piece about that.
Yeah, most horrific U.S. version of these schools. Returned there in 2015 and started demanding the bodies, the remains of the children who died. And they finally, as of a few weeks ago or this week, got those remains back and had a ceremony transferring the remains to a tribal area. So that is a big update.
Yeah, and something that needs to be reckoned with in our history as, you know, children of the empire, as the largest empire in the history of the world. And, you know, this is Canada and the United States. Someone brought up the fact that, you know, this is what colonizers have done across the globe, and that's very true. But this is something that is something that, you know, people are clearly, you know, kind of like around our age that went to these schools. So the idea that this is something that happened hundreds of years ago is just, again, it's wrong. It's ahistorical. The colonization of what is now considered to be the United States has never ended. And I can't remember her name, but I spoke with her when I was in Paris for COP21, the UN supposed climate summit. Really, it's the greenwashing summit. And she said, you know, they first came on ships and with bayonets and blankets, and now they come with pipelines and earth moving equipment.
Yeah.
So this is still happening. The idea that like colonization happened is just fucking untrue. And so we do have to continue to talk about it as if it's, you know, ongoing news. And that's something that we have to reckon with as Americans. So, yeah.
Yes, for those who want to learn more about some of the Native history, Howard Zinn's People History is very important.
I'd also recommend an Indigenous history of the United States, written by an Indigenous woman, Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz, who wrote that book. I know I've mentioned it before, but it's very important to also read books that are written by Indigenous writers. So, and if you're looking for something that is a very beautiful book that is not that you can read kind of like in tandem with the gut-wrenching, horrifying history of Indigenous peoples since 1492, try reading Braiding Sweetgrass, which is just possibly one of the most gorgeous books I've ever read, and it gives you hope in humanity.
Really?
So, yeah.
Cool.
And Robin Wall Kimmerer. There we go. That's the author of Braiding Sweetgrass, and it's a beautiful, beautiful book. It's a real love letter to nature, and it also speaks to how we, as, you know, non-Indigenous peoples to this land,
Thanks, Golden Outings,
can be part of the solution and not the problem.
Totally true. I see that some of you are sharing your favorite books about or by Native Americans, which is very cool. Please continue. People might enjoy hearing those.
Yeah. We could do a rolling book club where you all share your favorite books. We are book nerds here, so
let's see in these last 5 minutes. What else we got at Rad Indie Media? Yeah, Chris Mohan did a good. So, by the way, if you use Red Any Media, you'll see that there's a little icon in the left corner of the bar that shows if it's TV, it means you can watch it. If it's a little newspaper, it means you can read it. And if it's a little microphone, which we don't have here, that means you can listen to it. And Chris Mohan did a cool thing on Israel manipulating U.S. narratives. Graham Elwood did a great interview on Medicare for All. About how it doesn't actually cost money. It actually saves us money, which is an excellent point. And the interview gets into a lot more than that. And then Caitlin Johnstone talked about, and I covered this as well in my live stream, my Moment of Clarity, talks about the Biden administration accidentally admitted that the government is censoring social media.
So the quiet part loud.
Yeah. The press secretary was proudly telling people that the Biden administration tells Facebook what posts to censor, which even if you loved Joe Biden, that should be fucking horrifying. Because guess what? Let's say Trump wins next time around again. Let's say back when Trump was in office. Do you want him censoring social media? Do you want him telling them what to do? Or you're only okay with it when it's Biden? This is what drove me fucking nuts under Obama, is goddamn fucking liberals act like it's fine when it's done by Obama, and that tool will never be used by other fucking presidents. Even if you loved Obama, which you're out of your goddamn mind and you're an idiot, but even if you loved Obama, do you really want him having the largest surveillance state in the planet? Because that's going to be handed to the next person, which it was under Trump. Same fucking shit. Largest surveillance state on the planet still exists, and now it's Trump in the driver's seat. Like, why? Even if you love the fucking guy.
But it also suggests that there's a vast difference between Obama and Trump and Biden and Bush, and there's not.
Well, like I said, it means you're an idiot. But.
Well, right, but you shouldn't be a fan of any of these ideas. Regardless, it's kind of like how liberals were horrified about the detention centers under Trump, but now they're totally fine with them under Biden.
Yeah.
It's like, well, but
don't they have a new name? Overflow facilities?
I don't remember what the fuck it's called.
Overflow facilities, I think.
But basically it's like kids are still in cages, but I guess now they're blue instead of red. So maybe that's a bit easier on the eyes. Yeah.
We have 4 minutes left, folks. So it's the last chance to donate if you can. All of the donations go to people who are struggling. Thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, acting like it's not the same shit going on. I plan to cover this on Redacted tonight if I get around to it and have enough time. But there's new reports showing that Biden is on pace to approve more fossil fuel contracts than Donald Trump. Think about that for a minute. This is the administration that was going to deal with climate change. That is, quote unquote, dealing with climate change, right? These are the adults in the room, quote unquote. These are the people who know what's happening and acknowledge science and don't touch women. Yeah, bullshit, okay? They are approving more fossil fuel contracts than Trump did so far. Yeah. So unless that turns around, unless Biden becomes a different human being, or his administration, honestly, he's not running shit, a different human being in the next fucking 3 minutes, in the next fucking 3 years, then unless that changes drastically, then you've got the same shit under a different guy.
But hooray for the rainbow, the rainbow cabinet.
It's true. It is. In fact, there's a Native American in the cabinet.
So
there you go.
Hashtag winning.
Hashtag winning.
Yep. All right, y'all. We've got 2 minutes, and we would love to get some last minute donations in. Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Oh no, this got crazy last week.
Oh wait, no, I don't anymore.
While you focus on that, I'll continue. So I know what we can ask them. We have an argument going. For me, when I have to sneeze and it's not quite happening, if you look
it's just not true.
If you look at a bright light, it makes me sneeze. And yet she acts like it's not a thing that exists.
Well, it's psychosomatic.
No. It's real.
It's psychosomatic.
And apparently, I read it's a third of people have whatever it is that makes you sneeze when you look at bright lights. So fucking people, put a comment if you're
like saying
if you're one of those people, or you know someone who looks at bright lights if they can't sneeze. fucking
It's like people who
write it right in the comments.
It's
Put
like
in
if
the
you were to
comments.
say I can't take a shit unless someone smacks my ass. That doesn't mean that that's scientific. That means that it's psychosomatic. It's not that, oh, that's an actual thing that, can be scientifically replicated with a bunch of fucking different people.
Are you looking at these comments? It exists.
I see you're just highlighting the ones that say yes.
See? Tons of it.
Fake news. Can you highlight the
Crowdsourcing
donation?
knowledge.
Thank you, Giggles. And thank you,
I
Ida.
thought Giggles was saying, don't forget to leave. Yeah, we should remember that. It's good. I'm glad you had enough. We should remember to leave.
It reminds me of a song my grandmother used to sing, which was "Don't forget to go home before you go to bed."
Do you want to end on a quasi bad joke?
That's terrible. But thank you, Oz Whistles. We've been
It's
having a
very
lot
kind.
of bad jokes in the past couple of days. So, just pile them on. Thank you, Nero.
Thank you, Nero. I think the sneeze, the crowdsourcing the sneeze thing got people to donate. There's look, the donation, the dollar signs fucking lighting up.
Okay.
Actually, donate if you look at bright lights when you sneeze.
Okay, well, we're done now.
You don't want the donations?
I do. Okay, I'm leaving then. You can stay.
All right. I'm heading out.
I'm tired.
All of Eleanor's stuff is at artkillingapathy.com. So if you can't find it somewhere else, go there. Art Killing Apathy. You can see her new music video, which everyone's been raving about. By the way, the ratio on the new music video, which everyone's into the ratios, is like crazy. It's where I put it up on YouTube, it's got like 300 thumbs up and 2 thumbs down, which are probably like her parents or something. Like it doesn't even count. And so the ratio is insane. So that means you likely will also like it. You can watch it at Art Killing Apathy. You can look up Pyre on YouTube, Pyre, Eleanor Goldfield, obviously. And you can find the music video there. And yeah, check it out. Just check it out.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks,
wow.
Radical Eclectic.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you so much, y'all, for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for the donations. They really mean a lot. And
they will help people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so until next time.
Spread the news about Rad Indie Media and keep fighting.
Wow. Okay. And act out.
And act out.
And then, wait. And if you're about to donate, just donate via Venmo at Lee Camp.
Oh yeah, if you're not watching, if you're about to donate or you're not watching this live, Venmo at Lee Camp.
Yes. Okay.
Bye.